think the McRib sucks, so I'm gonna make it better. The McRib is a seasonal item offered at McDonald's, and it consists of a pork patty that is constructed to look like boneless ribs. Then they take that constructed patty, put it on a bun with some onions and pickles, and of course a little bit of barbecue sauce. But my thought is, why use a fake constructed patty when I got a smoker right behind me and I can make my own ribs? So today we're taking a rack of baby back ribs, putting them on my Pit Boss Austin XL. We're gonna smoke them and make our own McRib. Are you ready? I am. Let's smoke them. So the first step that we need to do today is get some paper towels and wipe off our ribs. So we're gonna go ahead and take a paper towel, and we're just gonna kind of try to get some of that liquid and that juice off that it comes in the package with. Then we're just gonna flip this rack of ribs over, and we're just gonna go ahead and repeat the same thing on the meat side of our ribs. Now we're gonna flip our ribs back over onto this side. Now, as you guys can see, we have our membrane here, so we wanna go ahead and pull this off. So now go to the center of your rib and kind of get your finger and start to work your finger back through the rib under the membrane, being really careful because it's really easy to tear this. And now that you're all the way through on both sides, you're just gonna take and you're just gonna hold your finger down in the center of the rib and pull up both ways, and now we have our membrane off. Now we're gonna take and trim up these ribs just a tad, and as you guys see, it was pretty easy for me to get the membrane off. It's because these are baby back ribs, and baby back ribs have always been easy for me to get the membrane off. Spare ribs, I have to use a knife and a paper towel, so don't feel bad. And on the back sides here, I really barely do any trimming. I just try to get like really little tiny little things that are kind of sticking up off. I'm not really too picky at all. I don't know, maybe I'm OCD about my ribs, maybe I'm not, but this is just how I like to do it. And since we are making the McRib today and we need our bones to just pop straight out, I am just gonna make a tiny little incision just coming along down the side of this bone, so that way I can go ahead and get them to pop out real easy when they're all cooked and finished up. So just go along. We don't need to make a super deep incision, but just find your bone, feel it, then come off to the side of it, and we're just gonna make a tiny little incision, and this is just gonna help your ribs for the bone to pop out really nice and easy. So here we go. I think we have one more bone right here, and now we're good. Now go ahead and take your rack of ribs and flip them back over. So now we're gonna trim up this side, and this side doesn't have a lot of trimming to do. I just kind of want to take pieces of fat off like this that are just kind of big and obnoxious, because nobody likes the obnoxious kid at school. They're always getting in trouble, and we don't like obnoxious fat because they get our ribs in trouble. So just take off all the obnoxious fat, all the angry little mean fat. Nobody likes the fat on here that doesn't render because it's chewy and it's gristly, and we don't like chewy and gristly here. We like tender and juicy and moist, and that's what we want today. So there's a little bit of silver skin right here. Kind of go underneath the silver skin and kind of fillet it out just like I did right there. That was beautiful, by the way. Try to get a couple little more pieces of this done right here. And last but not least, we're gonna come right here and try to get this little bit of fat off without getting any of the meat, which we did get a little bit of the meat, not the end of the world. And I'm just gonna take and kind of try to square this up, because this little flap of meat down here is not gonna cook at all. It's gonna get way overburned. As you see, it just kind of squared up a little bit. It took this flap off. Now it's kind of a little bit more even thickness all the way along our rib. So this is about trimmed up as good as I want it today. Now I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over, and we're gonna start our seasoning process. Now we're gonna take and slather this up with a little bit of mustard. And we're just gonna take our mustard, which is gonna be our binder today, and we just wanna get it spread out pretty evenly throughout this whole entire backside of our rack of ribs. So today we're starting out with some of our salt, pepper, garlic. This is gonna be our base layer of seasoning for our ribs. This is gonna add a nice little base layer of flavor. So now I'm gonna come back with a little bit of a base layer of some of my Sweet Preacher pork rub. Just got this at my local Walmart. I think it's a great rub for pork. It's gonna add a nice little bit of color and pop of flavor on the backside. So now I'm gonna go ahead and flip this bad boy over. And since today we're gonna be doing the McRib, we're gonna make a big old M for McDonald's. Does that look like an M at all? It probably does not, honestly. I don't think that looks like an M at all, but hey, it's gonna have to be good for today. Now go ahead again and spread on your way too much mustard like I do every time I do this. But hey, I'm just trying to provide you guys with a nice little bit of humor. Humor is something that's really important to me. I love to make people laugh. I love it when people have a good time. I'm like a very hospitable person, so that's why I try to, communicate in my videos. This is way too much mustard, as always, so just go ahead and wipe some of it off. It's okay to have fun while you cook. It's not a sin. It's only a sin if you don't do it right. All right, so that's good for today. Now we're coming back with our salt, pepper, garlic, and the reasoning why I'm using salt, pepper, and garlic is because the salt and the pepper and the garlic really work on the meat. It helps it to sweat out, absorb some of that flavor. Then I'm coming back over with my sweet preacher, and this has some paprikas in it. It has some brown sugars in it. The brown sugar helps to caramelize the top layer to give it that dark color. Then it has some of those reds in there, like paprika, that really help to give it that nice red color that we want on our pork. And I think I'm gonna be calling that good right here. Now we're just gonna take for our edges, and we're just gonna kind of try to, bat that along. As you see, picked up some of the seasoning. It's not gonna be perfect, but hey, it's okay. So let's go ahead and just keep patting it around on that seasoning, and now we're good. Now that your ribs are all seasoned up, go to McDonald's, buy a McRibs, and throw it in the freaking garbage. Because what we are about to come out with today is gonna be absolutely amazing, super beautiful. So now go outside and get your smoker fired up. I'm using the Pit Boss Austin XL. I'm gonna be smoking these at 250 degrees using hickory pellets. So now that your smoker's at the temp and your ribs have sweated out real nice, let's go ahead and get it out to our smoker. So now we're gonna open this bad boy up and we'll get our ribs on. All right, so go ahead and slide your ribs out right onto the smoker. Now that your ribs are on the smoker, I just wanna take and I wanna adjust them the way that I want them. I'm gonna try to straighten this out the best that I can, and that's how our ribs are gonna cook today. So now that we have our ribs on the smoker, what we are going to do next is let them sit for about 1 hour. In the meantime, I'm gonna get some apple cider vinegar inside of a little container, and that's what we'll use to spritz. And make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video when you get to see how I make this epic creation. It's gonna be awesome and amazing, so I'll see you guys soon. Okay, so now we are at the 1 hour mark. I have my apple cider vinegar. I'm assuming that I'm gonna have to spray, so let's open it up and see what it looks like. All right, guys, as you can see, here's what we're looking like. This rub is actually set on pretty nice now. So we're gonna go ahead and give this bad boy a spray. Just get some moisture on there. We don't need a whole lot, just don't want the skin to dry out. I'm gonna go ahead and call that good right there. So we're just gonna let this hang out here in the smoke. It's gonna need a good couple hours till we wrap it. So I'll come back out at the 2 hour mark and we'll determine what we do then. All right, guys, so here's how we're looking. Wow, these ribs are looking beautiful. We have some really great and amazing color on these ribs. The skin is drying out though, so we do wanna get some spray on this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray these down. I'm gonna give them a really good and nice spray this time because that bark is definitely really set on there, and I don't want the skin to dry out. So yeah, let's go ahead and spray that up, and I'd say it looks pretty good to me. Let's go ahead and get it shut down. All right, so we are now at the 3 hour mark. We're gonna go ahead and open up this rack of ribs. I'm gonna get the temperature real quick, see if the bark is fully set on and gotten on a nice color, and then we'll bring it inside and wrap it if we're at that point. But without further ado, let's open it up and see what it looks like. All right, as you guys can see, we have a really, really nice dark color. This rub is set on here, starting to get some nice little char action on here. So this is exactly where we wanna take it off at, but let's also just check the temperature. All right, so let's go ahead and just poke it in here. And it's right where I thought it would be, right around 165 degrees or so, right there in the middle. Let's check further down this way. So it looks like it's getting hotter down this way. It's at 173, and that's perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Okay, you guys, we're back inside now. It is time to get fat and happy. I'm gonna show you how I wrap my ribs. So I'm just gonna start out by spraying down this to get a little bit of moisture on there. Now I'm just gonna take an undisclosed amount of brown sugar, because I have no idea how much it is. Just put some down. Then I'm gonna take 4 pats of butter, which is probably equivalent to 2 tablespoons, and I'm just gonna put them about the length of the rib. And now I'm just gonna take and drizzle a little bit of sauce down here on the bottom, just like that. Now I'm just gonna take my ribs and I'm gonna set them meat side down, just right over this mixture. And we're basically gonna repeat the process on this back side. Right here, I'm spraying it down. Just wanna get some nice good old moisture in here. It'll help tenderize our ribs. Now again, I'm just taking my 4 little pats of butter and I'm just spreading them out across the rib, just like that. Again, take an undisclosed amount of brown sugar because I just grab like whatever I think is good and just put it on the back of your rib. Now go ahead and drizzle your sauce across these ribs. I'm using Sweet Baby Ray's and an apple cider vinegar mixture. Now, when you wrap this up and put it back on your smoker, it's gonna get some steam in there. It's gonna create a lot of moisture. A lot of this is gonna turn into a pool of liquid, and this is gonna help tenderize the ribs. This is gonna get them really tender, nice, fall off the bone, exactly what we need for our McRib. Now it's time to wrap our rib. I have 2 sheets of aluminum foil and get them folded over the top this way. Now, we're going to pinch in this corner right here, make our pinch along this line, and we're gonna fold over this way. And now we're gonna come back to this side, do the same thing, make your line, fold them up and over. Then what I like to do, just like to take, kind of fold this up a few times and just kind of get it folded up over this edge. And this way it's really easy. If we need to unwrap it, you just unwrap that back, unwrap the sides, pull this part back, and you can go ahead and check your ribs. So let's get this back up, and we're gonna get it back down just like this. So go ahead and open up your smoker, get your ribs on, and shut it back down. All right, guys, so we've been in our wrap for 1 hour and 15 minutes now. I actually needed to kind of rush this one to get it done before my kid woke up from his nap. So I turned up to 300 degrees as soon as I put it on. So if you're following along in this recipe, I did 3 hours at 250 degrees in the smoke, then about 75 minutes at 300 degrees in the wrap. So let's go ahead, open this up, take your internal temperature, and see where we're at. All right, so let's open this up. Go ahead and take a look. I already checked this beforehand, so I already know it's done, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys, what it's gonna look like and what you should be expecting. And this is well past 200. I mean, this is gonna be very, very fall off the bone, which is exactly what we want. I mean, if you want to, I don't know, it's not coming right off the bone, but I bet you probably could. Look at that. I'm just using the tip of my, whatever that's called. Let me know in the comments. And I could just peel the bones right out. So this is fall off the bone ribs. Let's get this inside and make our sandwich. All right, so as you guys can see, we have our 1 bone that's missing right there. We just want to go ahead and take these bones out. It should be real easy because we cut right next to it. As you guys can see, our bones are kind of just peeling right out. Looking really, really nice. And I'm actually pretty impressed with how easy these bones are coming out, because normally I like to make like more of a competition style barbecue where it really can't just slide right off the bone. And wow, that was really hot. I almost swore on camera. That would not have been good. My wife would have slapped me. I would have had to take these ribs and throw them through my window. Then we would have had to go to marriage counseling, and I would have had to try to explain him why I had a broken window. And yeah, but look at that. I mean, these bones are literally just sliding right out. But hey, let's take a little break from taking the bones out of our ribs. And I noticed when I took this one off, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but there's a little bit of meat that stuck to it. And we're just gonna... I make really good ribs. Let's just put it that way. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna take and flip these ribs over very carefully so they don't fall apart, and take a look at our finished product. All right, so we're just gonna take and find about our middle. I think our middle looks right about here, and we're just gonna cut right through these ribs. I'm gonna go ahead and get these cut up for a sandwich. Go ahead and cut right through this rib. There we go. All right, so what I have here is a hoagie roll, some sesame seeds on it. We just want to go ahead and completely open this all the way. So we're going to be starting out with pickles, and don't make fun of me. I really like pickles, like a lot. So I'm just going to load it up, and I don't know, maybe one more. Is this too much, guys? I mean, this is my sandwich, so we're gonna call that good. Now we're gonna take and we're just gonna layer on some of these onions on here. And this doesn't have to be pretty. We're just making it home, but we're gonna put that many onions on. And last but not least, we have our rib. Now, really last but not least, we have our sauce. We're just gonna rub that guy around, and we're gonna eat it now. So happy, fat and happy. So now we're gonna slap our bun on top, and guys, we have our McRib. If you've made it to the end of the video, you get to watch me eat this now, and just by looking at this actually looks really good. I was kind of in doubt when I was gonna make this video because I watched other people make it. I'm like, man, it looks so good. And I'm not like the best sandwich maker. I'm better at like just making meat itself, but I think this turned out amazing. This looks really good. So let's go ahead and give this a bite. Yo. I really don't know what just happened. I really don't know. If there was one thing in my YouTube channel that you should make, it's this. I know I said that when I made the pork belly burn ends, because I always say you guys should try my recipes. You should share them with your friends. impress people. But dude, this literally killed it. These ribs are so tender that they just fall apart in your mouth. All those pickles. I know it looks like I put a lot of pickles on, but the rib is so sweet with all that brown sugar and the barbecue sauce and the butter, all that stuff that's on there, that when you get the acidity, the sourness of the pickle, and then that like nice little bitterness and crunch and bite of that onion mixed in with the soft bread. I mean, this is freaking out of this world, dude. Make this. Share it with your friends. Share it with your mom and your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, first cousin, second cousin, third cousin. Make it for your kids. Make it for your dog. Make it for your cat. Make it for your pigs. If you're on a farm, you got pigs. My kid's gonna wake up from a nap. I just ate like a quarter of a rack of ribs in 3 seconds. I'm fat. I feel my blood pressure rising, so I need to go drink some water and sit down. This is all the time that I have for in today's video. So if you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button. I'll eat pickle juice when this hits 1,000 videos. I'll make that its own video and share it. But what did I start off by saying?
You said I'll eat pickle juice when this hits 1,000 videos.
Okay, not when it hits 1,000 videos, when it hits 1,000 likes. Thankfully, my wife is here to make sure that I'm perfect. All right, anyways. Yeah, I'm just gonna end the video. So I'm gonna take another bite and I'll say bye. Bye.